Hi, I'm jjbarnes and you are joining me for another episode of The Table Read. Welcome back to The Table Read on YouTube, where I am making videos to excite and inspire and give writers confidence to tell their story. Today's subject is going to be why schools make such a good story setting. Now, you might have noticed that schools are a very popular story setting. Everything from Harry Potter to Buffy the Vampire Slayer to Clueless to 10 Things I Hate About You. Schools feature heavily in any kind of story designed for either children or teenagers. And, new adult will often feature a university or a college campus. The reasons for this, right, and it's a real good thing to take into account, because even if you're not using a school setting, these are still things that you're going to want to try and think about. So wherever you're setting your story, you're going to want to take these into account anyway. So just think of a school and what happens in a school. So number one, right, every single scene in your story needs conflict. And can you think of any place in the world with more conflict than a school? I swear schools have more conflict than war zones. Like, they might not have bombs, you know what I mean, and murder, but they've certainly got layers and layers of conflict. Conflict is when somebody doesn't have something that they want and they are trying to get it, and it is in conflict with something somebody else wants. So you have got children, hundreds of them, rammed into one space. Some of them want to be good and do their homework, others want to disrupt the class, some want to fall in love with that boy, some want to fall in love with that girl. Sometimes there's crossed wires. You've got friendships where people are there's parties, and there's relationships, and there's friendships, and there's disagreement, and there's discovering of music, there's hormones, there's just, God, school is horrible. Then there's the pressure of actually trying to learn and study and do well in your subject, or having disagreements with the teachers, or feeling inadequate. You're coming to self-discovery, so you've got people learning about their sexuality, you've got people their bodies are changing, they're hormonal, they're angry, they are struggling with identity. This is like a hotbed of conflict, just like ram right there in a little space. You've got a classroom with 35 people in, all about the same age, all dealing with like puberty is one of the biggest challenges of life to get through. It's horrible. We all have to do it, right? Puberty is very stressful and difficult. You get through the other end. If you're a teenager and you're watching this, you get through the other end. You do. And it gets better. But while you're a teenager, it's very hard. So schools are riddled with conflict that's naturally occurring. So you put a character into a scene who wants something, and they are surrounded by people that there will be conversation with, disagreement with, ideas shared, thoughts talked about, like perfect school conflict. Number two, characters. Every character, you want people to be different, right? You don't want everyone just to be the same person. In a school classroom, everybody is different. You'll have cliques of people who are similar and they may be like the same band or the same fashion sense, but within each clique there's different personalities, and they will be getting conflict with the different personalities who like the different things. And it's very easy to differentiate between all these different people because, again, they're so passionate. The thing is, teenagers are so passionate, right? I'm 35, so there's music I love. If I use music as an example, right? Music I absolutely love. I love listening to Taylor Swift. I just think she's wonderful, right? If I was a teenager and I loved listening to Taylor Swift, then I might have posters and I might know all about her life, and I might like sort of follow her on all the social media and a bit obsess over what she's posting next and who she's dating and what clothes she's wearing. I ain't got time now. I just like listening to her. But when you're a teenager, it's like everything matters more. You're obsessed. It takes over you. So you're driven and you're obsessed with it, whilst all the pressures of life, of studying and homework and exams and bullies and boyfriends and just everything. All these different personalities that are all very strong and driven by identity markers. And yeah. Another thing is, the school year acts as a natural time lock. So you've got so many months in this space. And if you think of the Harry Potter books, or films if you prefer those, right? Each school year ends with a climax, and it gets built to from the beginning. You know it's coming. Harry knows it's coming, the audience knows it's coming. The climax of the story is never sort of at Christmas and then the rest of the school year just dribbles away. No, the school year is coming to an end, and that is when it all kicks off, which means when you start the book, as it moves forward, every time there is a Christmas or Easter or exams are coming and the summer comes, you know you are building to the climax and you know that it's coming. It drives towards it with these intermittent time periods that tell you how much time has moved through. So when you get to Christmas, you know you've got 6 months until the end. You get to Easter and you've got 3 months until the end. School years act as a natural set period of time in which to tell your story, so you can't go off on loads of months on end doing something else, because you're in a school year. It's a time lock. It adds pressure. It ramps it up as the story moves forward. You know the end is coming, so it gets tenser, and that works really well. Another reason is the authority system in place, right? Your character might need a mentor, a teacher, someone who guides them, right? Dumbledore, like Hagrid. These are characters who guide Harry in his time block at school. You have a mentor character who teaches them, and this is a really good thing for urban fantasy school settings, because if you've got a magic teacher who teaches and guides your magical character, and they are in a space where not everybody is magical, but a few people are, having an older character to teach and guide them, it shows them the way through the world. They've got a reason to be with this older person, right? Not all kids have a reason necessarily to hang out with an older person they're not related to. That could come across as a bit creepy and weird. Giles is the librarian to Buffy because she needs an older mentor, and there needs to be a reason she's with him all the time. Stick them in the school. There's a reason for them to be there. Teacher, guider, mentor. Teach them what they need to know about magic. Teach them what they need to know about the world. And then you can do the death of a mentor thing where you kill them and force the protagonist to stand on their own 2 feet. But it gives you a natural reason to have this guiding character there. Otherwise, you are trying to think of who's going to teach them what they need to know, who's going to guide them. These are teenagers. Who is going to be the adult voice guiding them through their journey and showing them what they need to learn, showing them how to survive what is going on. So there are other reasons. Basically, you've got them all crammed together. They can't escape, which is brilliant because, again, pressure. You have them having to go to different spaces. So you've got natural movement. There's always action. You're not going to stall too long in one spot because the class ends. They have to move on. If it's a uniform wearing school, then they are going to strive to represent their identity and self in small ways, like weird makeup or strange hairdos, because it's like a football team, right? They have to all wear the same thing. So they always have elaborate hair, because it's the only way to differentiate between them, which is another thing that your child character in this school setting is going to be struggling with, because identity and a sense of self is a massive part of growing up and trying to represent yourself. It's just an interesting layer of characterization because you want your characters to be interesting and striking. So thank you very much for joining me for another video, and I hope this has been helpful. I hope you feel inspired. Tell me your favourite stories set in a school. I would love to know about it. If you subscribe to this channel, I'm putting out videos every week, all to do with writing and the love of story. Or go to thetableread.co.uk, where you will find articles and interviews and all sorts of things with other people who also love story. And yeah, I'll be back again soon. Bye.